Well, good morning, Holiday Hill family. Josh here in the church foyer for Throwback Thursday. And today's Throwback Thursday deals with one William Mitchell. William Mitchell was born in Minnesota, and he had a very interesting life right out the box. During school, he worked a job like many young men will. But see, his job, he worked at a sugar beet factory and farm, and he worked with the sugar crystallization, and that was a night job. The guy would literally work in sugar beet farms, go to sleep for 2 hours, get up and go to school. And even with only 2 hours of sleep, he did pretty well. He graduated high school, he went to a small college for undergrad, and then he went to the University of Nebraska where he got his master's degree in chemistry. Shortly after college and University of Nebraska, he got a job with General Foods as a food scientist. And that's where his career began to shine. He's responsible for a lot of foods that you guys know and are probably fans of at one point or another. His first big claim to fame came in the 1950s when he made a citrusy flavored energy drink, and it was called Tang. And it was so popular, in fact, that NASA scientists used it for space missions. But shortly before Tang was invented, he was experimenting with a self-carbonated soda, like maybe some kind of powder or flavor crystals that you put into your beverage and it instantly carbonates it and turns it into a soda. And they could never get it to work. As a matter of fact, he took some of the crystals and popped them in his mouth, and as he was in his mouth, like they were making like exploding, popping, and crackling sounds in his mouth. But who would want that, right? So he just put it on the shelf and didn't really think much of it until 10 years later in the 1960s, it began to be marketed. That failed carbonated beverage began to be marketed as Pop Rocks. The chemistry of Pop Rocks is actually very interesting. It can't exist in hot temperatures. It'll actually malfunction and like pop inside its bag essentially and disintegrate and dissolve. So as a result, Pop Rocks were not sold in places where the average temperature was 85 or above, which during the 1970s, come to find out, true story, created a black market for Pop Rocks. People would buy them in Michigan and then sell them to people in Florida at double the price gouging of Pop Rocks, the world in which we live. He created another cool thing too. It was a whipped topping spread called Cool Whip. Perhaps you've heard of it. Yeah, this guy was responsible for Tang, Cool Whip, and Pop Rocks. Back to the Pop Rocks though, in the 1980s, there were stories circulating around in newspapers that if you ate the Pop Rocks and drank it with soda, kids' stomachs would explode. Public schools were actually banning the consumption of Pop Rocks under fear that children were going to die. Small children are going to die if you eat the Pop Rocks with the Coke. General Foods went on damage control. Mitchell went to schools assuring parents that it's safe, it's fine. Didn't work. One of the most popular candies ever that he made was discontinued and did not come back until the 1990s when it was purchased by another company. What do we learn from this crazy, insane story of this guy? Sometimes we have great ideas, but the great ideas aren't for right now. Maybe they're for later. Sometimes you have to put good things on a shelf and wait for its proper time. My encouragement to you today, guys, is this. Wherever you're at in life, practice patience. Maybe that idea really is good. Maybe that idea really will go somewhere. But it's not ready just yet. Nothing wrong with the idea. Nothing wrong with you. Just the timing ain't right yet. Something to consider today. Take care, and God bless.